What is the most valuable thing on Earth? Not gold, not water, but something without which we cannot survive even for a few minutes. Oxygen. Every day we breathe thousands of times, but very few people actually think about it. What life on Earth would be like without oxygen? But what if one day, suddenly, 50% of the oxygen in Earth's atmosphere disappeared? What would happen to our planet? Let's imagine that. Currently, Earth's atmosphere contains about 21% oxygen. This amount creates a perfect balance for humans, animals, and plants to survive. But if this oxygen suddenly drops by half, it would fall to around 10 to 11%. It may not sound like a huge difference, but in reality, the impact could be devastating. The human body would be the first to react. With less oxygen, breathing would become difficult. Dizziness, weakness, and a rapid heartbeat. These symptoms would start appearing very quickly. This situation would feel similar to being at the top of the highest mountains on Earth. For example, on Mount Everest, the human body cannot get enough oxygen. That's why climbers there often need to use oxygen cylinders. If Earth's oxygen suddenly dropped by 50%, the entire planet would feel like one giant high-altitude mountain. As a result, hospitals would quickly start filling with patients. Many people would suffer from breathing problems, especially elderly people, children, and those who already have respiratory issues. For them, the situation would become extremely dangerous. Now think about animals. Many animals would not be able to adapt to such low oxygen levels. Birds in particular would face major problems because flying requires a huge amount of energy, and that energy depends on oxygen. As a result, many birds might no longer be able to fly, and some may not even survive. The oceans would also experience major changes because the amount of dissolved oxygen in water would also decrease. As a result, many fish and marine creatures would not be able to survive. Slowly, the entire marine ecosystem would begin to collapse. Now think about fire. For fire to burn, three things are needed: fuel, heat, and oxygen. If oxygen levels drop too much, lighting a fire would become extremely difficult. In many places, fires would no longer burn properly. This would create serious problems for factories, power generation, and even simple everyday cooking. Air travel would also be heavily affected. Jet engines require a sufficient amount of oxygen to function. If oxygen levels in the air drop, many airplanes may no longer be able to fly normally. As a result, global transportation systems could suffer a major disruption. However, over time, some species on Earth might slowly adapt to the new environment. Scientists believe that throughout Earth's history, oxygen levels have changed many times. These changes have even played a role in the evolution of new species. But one thing is clear. If Earth's oxygen suddenly dropped by 50%, it would create a massive crisis for human civilization. Because no matter how advanced our technology becomes, our lives still depend on this thin layer of air around our planet. And the most important part of that air is oxygen.